And welcome to the Feminine Business Model Global Telejam, where we are inspiring possibilities and redefining success and sharing new, refreshing ways to be in the world. My name is Tracy Lee Jones, and welcome to this community of women who have the common intention to create lives and careers that are in alignment with our highest purpose and expression on this planet. And what's distinct about the feminine business model is that it's a holistic model, meaning all of the topics in this program are really woven together into a fabric of possibilities so that we're no longer splintering off pieces of ourselves to fit into a box. To really show that there's a holistic kind of spiral approach to business that's organic and natural. And that there's plenty of room for multiple perspectives, and there's plenty of room for multiple paths. There's really no one way. So I invite you to do three things right now. These three things are really going to help you get the most out of this interview. So number one, clear away the distractions, because the more present you are, the more you can hear that message or that comment that makes your heart light up and is really especially for you. And number two, to grab a pencil, paper, and a glass of water, because you're going to want to take notes, and you're going to want to sit back and just sip on your water and allow yourself to receive. And the third thing is just take a deep breath and just inhale a deep belly breath right now, allowing yourself to energetically arrive and becoming aware of the amazing community of women that are in your life and the women that are on this panel and the thousands that are listening to this with you around the world. So today's topic is how to turn a random passion into a wild success. And I am so delighted to have this incredible heart-centered panel of inspiring women. Naima Singletary, courage coach and founder of BillionDollarCourage.com. If you could say hello.
Hi. So glad to be here with you guys.
And Kristin Morrison, best year yet coach and founder of Six Figure Pet Sitting Academy.
Hello.
Great. And I know Naima, I've gotten to be in different circles with her, different masterminding circles and training circles. And with Kristin, we've been doing training and speaking and all kinds of fun stuff together. So I know these women personally, and they're up to really amazing things. And I'm so excited for them to be sharing how their businesses have evolved today with you. So ladies, let's jump in. The first question is, can each of you share a breakdown and breakthrough that you've had on the path to making money from your passion?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started, my business started in 2000, I had a PR company that I started in 2007, and that morphed into a fashion marketing company. And about a year and a half, almost 2 years into that fashion marketing company, I'd had an apartment. This was in Houston, Texas, and I had sublet my apartment, and I was going back and forth between California and Houston. And this one particular month, my accounts pay, I just had not received bills that people were supposed to have paid me. And I had an event going on, and I remember not being able to afford a hotel room. And it was a harsh, I mean, like, really? You don't have money for a hotel room? I mean, that's how funny my money was at the time. And I had to sleep in my car and then show up at my event the very next day where I'm organizing, and we have hundreds of people showing up, and we have like 20 vendors, and no one knows. I just slept in my car the night before, took a little mini shower inside the bathroom at Starbucks, and it was at that time where I had the breakdown of, wow, my money is funny like this. And then the breakthrough was, it showed me how committed I was to my business, more committed than I had ever really consciously realized. So that was what my experience like was with my random passion that I was on the way to building into a success.
And what was the specific, the passion that you were building your business around?
Yeah, so I'm a natural and huge fan of fashion, and I actually completed a fashion design program in Milan when I was 21. And I always thought I wanted to be a fashion designer, and that's where I learned I didn't want to be a fashion designer. It was styling that I really loved. But this fashion marketing company that I was building, where I had this breakdown and this breakthrough, was essentially marketing for brand new emerging fashion and design companies. So everything under the sun related to fashion, clothing and accessories and skincare and hair care and nail polishes and shoes and handbags, all those things that women love. And we would, bring these companies together under a beautiful roof. We'd be at swanky hotels and bars and luxury car showrooms, and we would be responsible for marketing to the public. So it would be our responsibility to get hundreds of shopping women into these environments, and they were just amazing fun, and I loved it. It was just so much fun, but obviously with any business, you have challenges along the way, and that was my challenge, not being able to pay for a hotel room on one particular night. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Kristin.
Yeah, so my breakdown and breakthrough, I started my pet sitting company in 1995, and after about 2 years, I grew very successful very quickly. I had a lot of clients, and somehow, even in spite of all of the clients, I wasn't making very much money. It was really odd. I was working a lot of hours. I wasn't making a lot of money, and about 2 years into my business, I had a breakdown in that I didn't want to do it anymore. And I felt like if I don't change the way I'm running my business, I'm not going to continue doing it. And I didn't know what I wanted to do at that point because I knew I loved being an entrepreneur, owning my own business. And so I took some time off to really look at what I actually wanted to do. And I realized I did want to keep running my business, but not the way I had been running it. And so I made a commitment to myself for a year. And I told myself if my business didn't drastically increase financially, and if I wasn't having fun doing it, I wasn't going to do it at the end of the year. And I ended up doubling my profits in a year from the prior year. And I ended up having much more fun. I went from working 7 days a week to working 3 days a week. I hired a manager to help me manage. And I think part of the breakthrough for me was I had this idea around business that running a business was hard. And I had that belief. And I also had the belief that it was kind of a masculine belief. That's why I'm really drawn to the feminine business model, because I had this belief that I had to kind of shut down my heart in order to own a business. I thought of a businesswoman as kind of a hard, intense person. And in that year, I began to really be flexible, really open up to the possibilities, get super creative about the way I was running my business. And it's just been amazing since then. Doors have opened that I never anticipated as a result of opening to the possibilities, which I think is very feminine. For us to allow our eyes to open to what's possible instead of what's probable or what has been before, or how we see others, as business owners. Like I had never seen anybody who was having fun running their business or who had lots of time and money. They either had one or the other, it seemed, and I wanted both, and I was committed to creating both. And so that was really the breakthrough for me.
I love that. There's so many things that you said that just sparked like, oh wow, it's because one of the purposes of this telejam is to showcase women. They're doing what they love and making money and having fun, right? Like that is the feminine. That's the feminine way. And I went through that too. The only women that I saw that were successful in business were like men and just really kind of hardcore and like not emotional and like just very, no, it was like all business and no fun. And so I just love that on so many levels. And what was your random passion that started your business?
Oh, so I had always loved animals, and I thought I would be a vet, but I became a vet tech and I realized that wasn't my path. To work in the veterinary field, partly because I was afraid of surgery and blood. I fainted when I was a vet tech, when I went to go see surgery. So I knew that that career's out, most likely. And so I met a woman on a bike path who was walking dogs, and she had a dog walking business. And she just, within that moment of talking to her, on the bike path, very randomly, she asked me if I'd be interested in walking dogs for her, and I said, absolutely. And then within 3 months, I was working for her, and I quit working for her, and I started my own business. And I've had it for 18 years, as well as doing all these other businesses that I now own. But that was my first business. And it happened very spontaneously, and it felt like, when I look back now and trace back the steps, it really feels like I was called to do that. And that was the first stepstone to where I am today. And it happened so organically, and I couldn't have decided to do it.
Yeah.
It's almost like it found me instead of me finding it.
Yeah. I feel the same way too about my company, because I didn't think it up. I was really just looking for a solution. It wasn't like I just made this thing up. It was more like how do we serve, because I had the PR company, and it's like, how do we serve these emerging brands that don't have $20,000, with a new skincare line or cosmetic line or shoes or whatever. And it's like it's just like the stuff just came whoosh, 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 whoosh. And the first event just came together like that. And so I feel the same way. Like it was like it called me to be done. And I freaking loved it. Not the people in the car part though.
That's awesome. I love what both of you are saying and sharing, is that it wasn't planned. It was just this kind of, you just followed your heart of like, gosh, what am I being like? Not even like you didn't even ask yourself a question. It was kind of just like, this is the next, this is falling in my lap, and it's the next step.
Yeah, and Tracy, I do want to say that I had a lot of anxiety, like in my late teens and early 20s, about what I was going to do career-wise. I was in college, and nothing was calling me, and I lost a lot of sleep during that time of, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? I was waiting tables, and I was having nightmares about being a blue-haired waitress for the rest of my life. And I mean, it really impacted me. And then I remember one day where I just realized I had to let it go, because my brain wasn't figuring it out for some reason. So I really just trusted that something would arise. And about 2 years later is when I met the woman who was walking on the bike path, and things evolved from there. So I just want to say to anyone out there who's struggling with, oh my God, what am I going to do with my life? I feel like I haven't found my right livelihood. I think if you're just, there was something for me about being focused and being open and going after different things that seemed interesting to me. That sweet spot between going for something and letting go, which is very feminine also. That sweet spot between the two polarities that can be very powerful, and I think it's the key to manifestation. I really do.
Oh my gosh, I love everything that you're saying. It so resonates with every cell in my body. Because I had a very similar experience in that after I graduated from college, I had an engineering degree, and then I went into that, and then I was, so I was working for AT&T for over a decade. And but I was always doing things on the side. I was always following my passions on the side, and I couldn't quite let go of the six-figure salary to do those things. But like what both of you were saying, following my heart with doing something that I love, and now it's kind of organically grown into, now I help women start their own side businesses. So I totally resonate with that on so many levels.
What I like about your story, Tracy, is that you actually were working for someone and started to cultivate on the side, which is a common angle for a lot of people. And then there's the other direction of women who are already in the world of entrepreneurship, and maybe they found dissatisfaction in whatever the thing is, and they have a real passion they want to edge into, and it's like, that's a whole other it's still letting go. But it's sort of like a different, I'm not really sure how to say it, but it's a different kind of letting go, because you're still entrepreneurial, but it's actually following your heart as opposed to doing the thing that you've sort of been doing.
The thing that makes, both of them, what's common is it's the thing that, they're both things that we know that we can make money at. And they're not necessarily what makes our heart light up, right? Whether it's an entrepreneur with a successful business that's making great money that isn't fun anymore, or a person that works in a company that their heart isn't lit up. Yeah, totally. I want to move on to the second question, which is, I think it'd be really juicy for the women to hear.
Oh, yay. Bring it on. I love the juice.
What were the first 2 years of your passion-based business like, and how did you deal with the naysayers and the negativity from yourself and from other people, and how has your original business evolved today, and what did it take to get there? I know it's a very loaded question.
Yeah, that is a loaded question. You want to go first, Kristin, or you want me to go?
All right, I'll be happy to go first.
Okay.
So the first 2 years of my business, the first year was incredible because I was so passionate about it, you know, but then the second year was challenging because that's when I started working a lot of hours, got a lot of publicity, and so for my first business at that time, and I got a bunch of calls very quickly for services, and so I had to hire people right away. There was just a lot of things that happened, new edges for me. And so that was pretty challenging, but it was so exciting. It's a birth. Any business that started, to me, is really like there's the gestation process, there's the giving birth, there's the caring for a new business, which to me is like an infant. It's as needy and demanding as an infant is. I mean, most new business owners are up, you know, till late at night and up early, and that was me in the beginning. Let's see, what was the second question? The second part of that. I know the third part. What was the second part?
How did you deal with naysayers and negativity from yourself?
Naysayers. You know, a lot of people would say, is that really a business, pet sitting? You know, they would think it was a hobby, and so I felt like I had to kind of prove to myself and to them that it was an actual business, and that it was a viable business. And so that leads into what I'm doing today. So I started my business in 1995, the pet sitting. In the year 2000, I started coaching pet sitters and all pet business owners on how to create success in their business. And I started Six Figure Pet Sitting Academy to help pet sitters create six-figure success. And then I began coaching all kinds of business owners who are eager to create success on all levels. Last year and the year before, I lived part-time in Bali. I was there for 6 months last year, and in India for a little bit. And then the year before, I was in India and Bali. And so I was able to step away from my business, from all my businesses, to be able to enjoy life and to come back and have a successful business waiting for me.
Nice.
I now own bestyearcoaching.com, so I help people create the best year they've ever had, whatever that looks like, whether it be traveling or having a family or building a successful business. And my third book is due out in April. It's called Six Figure Business. And I've also created sixfigurebusinessacademy.com. So it's really evolved to help all kinds of business owners achieve success in all the areas of their life. That's really what I'm passionate about today. You know, it's not just about creating a successful business for me. It's about how do you bring all of you to the table.
Yeah.
You know, and for a lot of business owners, they separate various aspects of their life. You know, it becomes all business for them. And how can we have a meaningful, totally fulfilling life in addition to having a thriving, absolutely successful business? So that's what I'm super passionate about these days.
And I've always been the renegade because, you know, I just didn't even get the separation piece. And you said something earlier about, gosh, I forgot. You said so much good stuff. But, you know, the separation that you talked about, which is so masculine, it's like they, you know, I'm thinking, I know masculine and feminine is not about men and women, but the masculine energy is always about separation, like this belongs here, this belongs here, as opposed to a lifestyle of it all where everything sort of goes together. Mm-hmm. And that never was even a reality for me. I mean, I have been an entrepreneur, you know, I started when I was, 20? Was that 22? Yeah, I think I was almost 22. And so I've always sort of made it my own rules. And so a lot of the issues that I see And I'm going to share my, I'm going to answer the question too, but
Wait,
a lot of women who are going from corporate into, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Quick question on what was the business was started when you were 22?
It was called Stuff and Mo Stuff. Oh God.
Yes.
It was so bad. It was so bad. I even had the business card that says Stuff and Mo Stuff. Oh my God. It was ridiculous. And so I would actually go into strip clubs in San Francisco and sell designer handbags and sunglasses and jewelry, and it was just fabulous. And oh my God, I can't believe I just told you guys that.
It's great.
Stuff and Mo Stuff was the name of the. Actually, my mom came up with that name. How horrible, right? Oh my God, you did it. You did it. You really put me in the hot seat on that one. So that was the business. Huh?
That's juicy.
That was juicy. That was crazy. Stuff and Mo Stuff on these really cheap business cards. But anyway, I just noticed that with women who go from corporate to entrepreneurship, or who go from, just sort of like status quo type positions into entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship is truly, truly creating your own rules, which there oftentimes is no blueprint for. So, I just always have been like this. And I didn't really realize I was the weird one until I started dealing with these women in these masculine, accounting positions and politicians. And, oh, God, it was just like, really? So anyway, so now let me answer the question. Could you tell me, what is the question again, please?
Well, what I'm wanting to know is, I'd like to hear what your first couple of years with that first business was like. And I'd like for you to go back to Stuff and Mo Stuff. Because that's really where everything started, right? Like, that's really where you really learned. You had to kind of go through the grim and the grime of building a business.
That's true.
Those first couple of years of that business were, and then how did you deal with naysayers or negativity from yourself and from other people? And then how did that evolve into what you're doing today, and what did it take to get there?
Now, see, that is over a decade, so I would be talking a long time if I tried to link it all from 22 years old. But so what I will share is, so I started that purely out of joy, nothing else. I didn't even care about the money. I mean, I did that strictly out of joy. I had so much fun. I would go to LA 2-3 times a month, and I loved that, and the shopping of it all, and the selling and helping women put things together, and it was just like heaven. And so I didn't really even view that as seriously. I was married at the time. I was a kept woman, and so I didn't treat it with the same level of tenacity and determination that a woman who was actually looking to build a thriving, highly profitable business would treat it. Mm-hmm. I did not treat it with that same kind of mindset. So I want the listeners to understand that there's a complete mindset shift that I had to go through when I actually started to go and create a business, as a profitable, highly lucrative business that is treated as such. So that's one thing I can talk about. The difference between the two is at that time I was almost going into 22 years old, and I didn't treat it, seriously or professionally. It was pure fun, pure, not even thinking about, the accounting of it all. So. But it's important because that really led into the work that I went to do, to the whole joy piece of it. Mm-hmm. So there was cake. When you asked about what were the first 2 years like, it was cake, and I just stopped doing it because I wanted to, and I could, and I was just living my life freely. I was still in college at the time. So then I went into direct sales. I graduated from college, and I went into direct sales just because I wanted to. And that's a whole other kind of entrepreneurship because I was in network marketing. So it wasn't my baby, but that is where I really learned about sales and rejection.
Yeah. And so what were the first 2 years of that business like?
Oh, I was hauling ass. I mean, I got more rejection than I've ever experienced. And I had sold vacuum cleaners door to door with Kirby. And I got more. You too?
Filter queen, baby. Filter queen.
And I thought that product was amazing, but I got more rejection in network marketing than I did going door to door with Kirby sales. And this was like hardcore commission. Like you go out and find your own customers. We would team up and go to Walmart and prospect at Walmart. I mean, this is the kind of prospecting we were doing. We would go to the mall, and so it's like yes or no right there in your face. So you got to be able to come with it to what. Just imagine you at a mall and a stranger coming up to you about possibly buying a legal plan for your family or your business, right? So I received more rejection than I ever have up to this point in my life during that time. So it really prepared me for what really happens in entrepreneurship: messing up, people disagreeing, disapproving, people, confronting you, challenging you, questioning you. I mean, that was like boot camp, seriously. But I was determined. My goal was to reach executive director level, which I did in 14 months. And I went across the stage in Las Vegas in front of like 15,000 people and got the whole rah-rah award. And so that was an awesome learning experience for me. And then I got bored. I reached what I felt like was my goal there. I didn't want to do it anymore. I left. Yeah. And I went through a divorce. So the man I was married to when I was 21, he and I divorced, and that's how I ended up in Houston, because I wanted to start all over again, create my own life. And
I think that in what I'm really wanting to get at with this question is because I feel like there's a false pretense out there that when you decide to start a business that you're going to be successful, right? And that after a year of trying and not being successful, a lot of people give up. And so the reason why I'm asking each of you about the 2-year mark is because I feel like really the 2-year mark is like that's when a lot of people, they give up before that 2-year mark, and that's when things can really start to skyrocket if you can make it that far, and because there's all the stuff that we're dealing with to make it that far, and not feel like we're making it.
And another reality of that 2-year mark is you might get to that 2 years and feel like you don't want to do that anymore. You really want to do something else you want to do.
Exactly. Whole learning experience.
Yeah, so that's the beauty of it all, and that's the price you pay. That's just a part of the game. And if you're not willing to play that game, I advise you to exit. I mean, that's just the reality.
And if your heart's not in it, I invite you to exit it.
Well, and I think that with the word exit, I feel like it's I'm really particular about languaging, and I feel like evolve would be a word that I would, because it's not necessarily dropping everything, right? Because we've learned so much. So it's like test and tweak. So it's like, okay, this it's a year or it's 2 years, and this I don't like it. Like I actually had that happen to me once with a few times with a few different side businesses that I had, where it was like, okay, I've been doing this for a year, I've been doing this for 6 months. I actually don't like I don't like doing one-on-one health coaching. And but then it evolved into, well, what do I like? What can I take from this? So it's like, okay, how can I evolve this into the next layer of what I am interested in now?
Yeah, and it's like when I got to the 2-year mark and I looked at, am I really committed to this business? Is my heart in it? Right. My heart was in it, but I needed to do things very differently in order for it to really be in alignment with who I truly am. So shifting some things caused me to deeply fall in love with my business again. And it was amazing. And it's just evolved so beautifully since then.
And I don't know if you got to share with us, because your business has evolved so much since you started so many years ago, and it's like iterations of businesses. What has it evolved into today? Like, what is it that you're up to today with your businesses?
So my business?
No, Naima.
Okay, got it.
I think we got to hear your evolution.
Yes, you did.
So with the Glam Shop business, I sold that business in 2011, and I actually just had a conversation with the owner yesterday, and it's thriving and still based in Houston, and they're doing this big, we don't have to go into the details of that, but it's still thriving. She has a brand new website, and I'm just so proud because that started from nothing, and now she's taken this thing, she's totally rebranded it, and it's just so proud. It's just amazing to know that you can create something you really struggle with it, because for the first 2 years I had fun, but financially I really struggled with it.
Right.
But still loving it. Just, oh my God, my heart was so in it the first 2 years. And it was really the last year, the year that I sold it, when it became like clockwork and the heart was out of it. And so I really relate with you, Kristin, about if your heart's not in it. And I realized I didn't want to be in the business anymore, not because it wasn't fun or it wasn't, it just, I wasn't in it anymore. You know, I just wasn't in it anymore. So where is it now? It's sold and kicking ass. That's what it's doing. So it's phenomenal to watch that happen with someone who has the heart for it.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Well, let's find things down with the one thing that you wish someone would have told you when you were first starting out that you can share to help the fabulous women that are listening to this.
Oh, God. So much. I wish somebody would have told me it doesn't happen quickly. I wish somebody would have told me it's okay to make mistakes and look, you know, bad and be embarrassed. Like, that's okay. It's part of the game, you know. I wish somebody would have told me to take care of myself. That's what I wish somebody would have told me to do. The importance of my self-care, of just nurturing myself and loving myself through the process. And that's just the start. I'll let Kristin contribute, and I'm sure I'll give some more.
I can relate to all of those for sure. You know, I wish somebody had told me that making money could be easy, because I went into my business thinking making money is hard. Yeah. And that was a belief I had to really challenge. And I've gotten to that place where making money is easy. And I enjoy it. And it's fun. Yeah. And I had to really look at, where did that belief originate for me, and really do some work around that. And so that was a big shift for me. I broke the 6-figure glass ceiling once I made peace with that belief. Also, to really look at having a business, in my opinion, especially a business that you're really committed to, will bring you to your knees, and it will also give you some of your greatest pleasure and joy. And so to just know that it is a roller coaster. I mean, you know, making money is easy. That's my belief, and that's true for me. And it doesn't mean that it's not challenging sometimes or amazing sometimes. You know, it's just, it's been, to me, having a business has been my greatest spiritual teacher. And it's really just been, it's helped me become a better person. And so I've learned so much. I've learned how to not be a perfectionist, you know, and to allow mistakes to happen. You know, I love that you said that, Naima, because I can really relate. I mean, I don't like to make mistakes, and yet, hey, you have a business, there you go. It's a total setup to make a ton of mistakes.
Inevitable.
So just go for it, you know? Flat on your face and laugh as you're falling down, because you're going to get back up and you're going to do fine. And we all learn. I was talking to a coaching client before this, and you know, she's like, I've made so many mistakes. I said, baby, that is what happens. That is what you sign up for when you have a business. So just flow with it. And don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
No.
It's like, hey, you started a business. Welcome to the land of mistakes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Perpetual mistakes.
Daily.
And another thing is you will need help. I wish somebody would have told me that you can't do it all. That if you're going to grow, there's a whole mindset shift around growing the business.
Yes.
Because start, right? And there's all the excitement and everything that goes into starting. But at each phase of growth, there's a whole mindset shift. And part of the mindset shift in that first 2-year mark is, oh, you need help. What you were doing 6 months ago is not going to work for the next 6 months, or what you did this year is not going to work that next year, because you need to double your numbers and double. And so there's a whole shift in how you've been doing things. And that's when a breakdown can happen too, because it's like you got to like a part of you has to die. A whole belief system has to die so a new one can help you get to the next level. So being okay with asking for help and receiving help and learning to trust. I wish somebody would have told me that too. It's just, it's ongoing, this whole what somebody would have told me. But the reality of it is the mistakes you make is the price that you pay. And that's what makes this so rewarding, is that the reality of it, like we can mentor you as much as we can, but it's just certain things you can't write a book on. You actually have to walk. You know, like you don't learn to swim by reading about how to swim. You learn to swim by getting in the pool. So here I am going into my preacher mode, but there's a lot that I wish somebody would have told me.
Well, it's so powerful, and I love what you said. I mean, definitely you can't learn to swim by reading a book, and the deathing part. I think that's so important to know, of just like constantly having to have parts of ourselves and our beliefs die off as our business grows, right? It's like this kind of death and rebirth process for every iteration of our business. That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for your passion and your wisdom and your time today. And to all the women out there, thank you for watching this video. Our intention is to leave you inspired and with practicality and with possibilities that you can integrate into your life and into your future. So have a fabulous day, and bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.